Nerdrotic.com.
Assemble the accused! Bear witness to their trials. The time of the Inquisition is now at hand. Putting pop culture to the rack, the Inquisition calls to account the events of the week, rooting out heresy wherever it is found. I am Grand Inquisitor Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, and joining me for tonight's torture is Nerdrotic Channel's Grand Inquisitor, Gary Beekler. Gary, how say you tonight? How are you?
I am not good. Not good. No. Daylight savings time. We were just talking about it. Completely screwed up from that. Happy International Women's Day, everybody. But the first thing I have to ask Doomcock is, how did Doctor Who miss the opportunity to completely destroy their canon and undo the first male Doctor, who was Hartnell first, everybody, and miss the opportunity to drop that on International Women's Day? I mean, minus woke points for Chris Chibnall.
They really screwed up. They missed the boat. They could have really struck a blow against the patriarchy, and they could have been, having it on International Women's Day, killing Doctor Who on International Women's Day would have been a stunning and brave choice that really, I think, automatically, would have toppled all vestiges of male domination in our society, and we would have gone out and everything would have been pink, and the skies would be clear, and men would be being lashed in the streets. It's just, they missed it. It was like, I don't know, it's like a supernatural thing, a conjunction of stars and planets in a Lovecraft story that would have opened a portal, and just a giant vagina just would have come and sucked up all the toxic men.
All our balls would have just been sucked through the black hole vagina.
Yeah, it's just around, whoop! And then we'd all be singing, I saw her today at the reception. It would have been just like that, But They missed it. They blew it.
Completely Idiot. Blew it. I mean, he can't even woke right. What a woke. He ain't nothing but a woke. A woke's on you, Chibnall. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Inquisition. I'm honored to have it on my channel. I'm honored to have the future ruler of Earth, Dictor Van Doomcock, here presiding over the atrocities to pop culture that we have seen over the last couple of weeks. It's mainly going to be Doctor Who and Star Trek tonight, folks. We're going to start out with Doctor Who because it has not gotten better. The BBC has made things a lot worse with their 2 form letter responses to the customer complaints. Now, there's a form letter response that they've emailed people, and then there's one that went out to the press. They're both a little different. They're both patronizing and freaking pompous as hell. British. Yeah. British can do pompous better than anybody. We're very sorry that we know you've attached yourself to particular things about the show, but we're sorry that you're too sexist and racist to enjoy it. Basically, that was the and I'll pull up the letters and read them later. It's pretty bad.
It's absolutely true, and I don't even know. It's like, it's just basically, I'm sorry, but we're socialists, you see, and so we don't have to actually perform. We don't have a marketplace, as you people like to call it, and so screw you. We'll give you what you like, whatever we want, and you'll like it. You'll take it and like it.
That old adage of the artist has to give you what you need and what you not what you want. That applies to original work. That absolutely applies to original work. That does not apply to a franchise that's been around, that you are simply a steward of, a custodian, temporarily in charge.
They're janitors of it, actually.
Yeah.
They're janitors, not custodians. That's too polite a word for what they are. They're janitors, and we're basically dealing with a toilet clogged with narrative poop. That's basically what we've got in the offices of Doctor Who. God damn it. I'm salty about this. I've actually been sitting on a video that's like a little, I don't know. It might even be too mean. So I'm I don't know.
Bring it.
I don't know, man. It's harsh. It's fucking harsh.
Bring it.
I'm angry though, and I don't know what to do. I think I'm just gonna throw it out there because God damn it, when it's so upsetting. I know so many people who are heartbroken over this. I am angry. I'm just angry. I don't allow myself to feel the pain. I don't allow myself to feel sorrow. I convert it to anger. I think it's healthier for me. But a lot of people are not like that. Vulnerable, kind-hearted souls that, have tender feelings, and so they actually cry and they're heartbroken about this stuff. Man, I've gotten letters, I've gotten texts, and it's heartbreaking. There are literally people in tears over this, and these scumbags, they love it. They love it, and that's kind of what my thing is about. So, God damn it, I'm glad we're talking about this, and we're not ever gonna really stop talking about this, because it's at the heart of the corruption and the defilement that we're dealing with, not only of our franchises, not only of us as people, but Western civilization is under attack. And these people hate the civilization that spawned these shows, and so that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah. The thing I am working on is very similar. I've gotten hundreds of emails. I asked on the last live stream I did for you to send me your BBC complaints and responses, and you guys, that was amazing. And I got one I'm going to read tonight that somebody, a kid sent me. I've had like a bunch of, I didn't realize how young some of the people watching our show are. I've had like students emailing me. And yeah, they're broken up. If you saw, old Noel on the TARDIS zone, he was broken up. And you're right. They're laughing. They're laughing at this. And that's why, and this is where it gets personal. So I will be there when it gets canceled. I will be there.
Yes.
I will be there every step of the way for this one. And I'll read it a little later. It's really good. And this kid breaks it down. It's long, but we'll read it later, and it's well said. And thank you for all the responses. And I'm sorry, they don't give a shit. The BBC doesn't give a shit. They've got their 2 years commission beyond this from HBO Max. But here's the little thing they're going to have to deal with this. If they're actually in business with an American company, and I don't know, again, you guys correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. I don't know if this is a partnership or if they're funding. So if they have creative say, we saw how Torchwood turned out when they had the American partnership there. So if they do have a creative say, they're going to want results, and I promise you, they're not going to want this doctor and this.
No,
this writer.
man, they poisoned the fucking well. I mean, if I was HBO, I'd be pissed off. I would not want this on my channel. I mean, it's heading down, Mikey Spock lane. It's going the way of Star Trek P Hard and Star Trek Discard, Disgracery, whatever you want to call it. This thing is soiled goods now. It's soiled goods. It's not worth the fucking contract paper that you negotiated on. It's worthless. I don't know. Nobody's going to watch this shit anymore.
No, they're not. And I don't know of somebody in the chat says Noel said that Chibnall lied to HBO, and they might not have told them the plot of and how much things were going to change, because the IP was devalued this Sunday.
God, yeah.
The reason Doctor Who is valuable is, I mean, let's face it, it's Tom Baker, David Tennant, maybe some Matt Smith. That's what Americans see. That's the value of that IP, and it's just been devalued. And I know the toy companies knew, though, and the merchandising companies, they knew it was coming.
They had to.
Yeah. So they're going to have to repackage everything. There's no more first, third, fifth, 11th Doctor. That's all gone. There's some people out there who are completely okay with this. Now, I'm sure it has nothing to do with Doctor Who confirming their belief system. And it's all due to entertainment. There's a lot of reasons people don't like this show, but it seems like we've all come together. I've gotten I don't know if you have. I've gotten a couple emails going, I disagreed with you until this episode.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Yep.
Yeah, I've gotten a few. And I mean, people have come to see the light, dude. They have. They catch up with us. I mean, the Inquisition leads the way every single time. Same thing with Game of Thrones. People took a while to catch up to us, but they came around to our way of thinking. To some extent, Westworld and now Doctor Who. It's just do not doubt the Inquisition. Between the two of us, we get it right.
That's right.
That's just the way it is.
And the end of this is a lot like Game of Thrones. There's the denial that they'll retcon this or it wasn't as bad as you thought it was. It was as bad as you thought it was. The canon is destroyed. Listen, there's going to be a lot of spin out there. No loophole trumps established canon. So the brain of Morbius can be brought up a lot, but you can also bring up the 12 or 13 times they mention that there is 12 regenerations. Or the multiple times, I haven't counted, but there's some expert can come up and tell us how many times it's been established that William Hartnell was called the first Doctor. I mean, there's the whole packaging. I mean, he's been called the first Doctor on packaging. So that establishes it to me. Now, you could believe what you want. That's fine. It's a make-believe show. But when you break the spell, okay, for lack of a better term, people are following a story that has a foundation. And I use the analogy in my video of One More Day from Amazing Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man, they still produce the comic Amazing Spider-Man. Spider-Man is still a somewhat popular character in comics, but not as popular as he was before. He's not the important superhero that he was before. And I'm talking just in the comic books, not in the movies right now, because of One More Day. One More Day broke a lot of old-time, long-time fans who had spent thousands, some hundreds of thousands of dollars on Spider-Man comics, collectibles. I had about a quarter of my subscriber group at my shop drop the title that day. Like, these are people who, like, they came in and go, when they came into my store, they said, give me everything Spider-Man. And that day they're like, I'm done. Bye. Yep. I'm out. And they never went back. That's what happened with Doctor Who. You can't, and they had already lost a huge portion of their audience during the Capaldi run due to the wokeness. And then they lost another big portion during Series 11. So what was hanging on is pissed off. You already have a large portion of the fan base that has already walked. Right. HBO, this HBO deal was done before Series 12.
Well, that was smart.
Yes.
That was smart of Chibnall et al. To go ahead and wrap that up before they saw the crap that they were buying.
And you want to know how we know something is wrong? Piers Wanger making statements. The BBC responding to complaints. The fact that they're doing this is a giant red flag that they know they're in panic mode right now.
Coming down from their ivory tower and deigning to walk amongst the peasants and address their concerns. Yes, that's exactly what they're doing. And that alone, just the fact that they, lifted their, fat asses out of their, red velvet thrones and skedaddled down to make their pronouncement from the balcony to all of us peasants, says that, even just moving their ass is a concession. And I think you're absolutely correct. I think that they have seen that they are in deep, deep shit. And man, they will. If they don't now, they will. The next season, assuming there will be a next season, and this HBO deal, it's gonna go down bad. It's gonna go down bad.
Pray I don't alter the deal any further.
Exactly.
Just remember, after Game of Thrones, it was all wine and roses. There were going to be 5 prequels. Dan and Dave just signed a $250 million deal at Netflix, those morons. And they were going to be doing a Star Wars trilogy.
Right.
What happened 6 months later?
Oh, a Star Wars trilogy is gone, and they're allegedly over at Netflix still, or has Netflix gone ahead and...
That's a good question.
Canceled, because I haven't heard anything about any upcoming shows from them.
Yep. And there's no prequels. There's one.
Nope.
That wasn't even a retooled one. The 5 previous prequels were all scrapped. They did a pilot for one, and apparently it was Woke of Thrones.
Right.
And God, I would love to see that. So the prequels got scrapped, and they scrambled together like a real showrunner. They're like, we actually need to get somebody who knows like television, and they're putting together a prequel that, quite honestly, it might be too late, but this showrunner is better than Dan and Dave. So, but that being said, we haven't seen anything from Dan and Dave. I think Benioff did Gemini Man. That didn't do too well. So yeah, things change. Things change.
God.
And
They do.
And we'll see. We'll see. I think we'll get another season, and I hope we do. I would love to see. Now, somebody sent me. Oh, it was the third female Doctor, played by Starry-Eyed Girl, who was just a brilliant person. So shout out. She sent me something on Twitter. There was some kind of survey going out. I don't know if you got this, asking if you would, how would you feel about Doctor Who being split into two, 5 episodes earlier in the year, 5 episodes later in the year? And they're saying, in no way does this say what we're doing with the series. We're just asking how you would, you would like that. I can even, maybe I could even bring that up in a little bit. But
I guess my thing would be, well, in 2 5-episode chunks, it might be easier for you to shove it up your ass, but it's not really my ass, and I won't feel the pain. So no, I'd rather have it be one big chunk that you shove painfully up your ass. Fuck you, BBC. That would be my knee-jerk response.
Exactly. Here it is, right here. Let's see.
Otherwise, I don't care, because I don't give a damn what they do. I'm not interested in their crap anymore. Fuck them. That's my opinion.
I agree with that opinion. Sorry, this is so big, but yeah, here, I'll pull it over here, and it says, imagine that the next season of Doctor Who was going to be split up over 2 time frames. For example, the first 5 episodes would, that's very professional work here, air in January, and the last 5 episodes in May. How does that impact your interest in watching the next season? And then it's got a little, makes me less interested in watching, makes me more interested in watching, has no impact on my viewing interest because I don't give a shit about this show.
Exactly. Exactly right. It's like asking you, so would you prefer to eat a big plate of shit all in one sitting, or would you rather have it split up into and have it be in January and May? And it's like, well, that's a philosophical question, isn't it? Do you just want to go ahead and get it over with, or do you want to have it looming over you as May approaches, so you dread it for another couple of months? I don't know. How about just neither? None of the above. Doctor Who is dead. That should be a write-in choice for the ballot.
It should be. One other thing that is proof that it's Jodie's last season. That is absolute proof, because if they split just go back, every time they split a season is because they're trying to buy themselves time, and they want to make it seem like less of a or a lengthy break in between seasons. So I predict this earlier, we will get a new Doctor announcement. Don't think this year, but I think early next year we'll get a new Doctor announcement, a new showrunner announcement. And it won't matter because the canon's completely screwed. You can bring back David Tennant. It won't matter. Captain Jack will guarantee he will be back. How many episodes is the only question. But he'll be back next season.
I was absolutely not enthralled by his appearance this season. They gave him, it was awful. It was just so over the top, flibbity gibbet. That's what it was. It was flibbity gibbety. He was like, talking a mile a minute, can't follow a thing, don't care. His brow is covered with flop sweat. He seems desperate, and it was embarrassing. It was painful to watch him, honestly.
And that's not, Captain Jack acts like that early on, but that's not Captain Jack. That's not Captain Jack who's been through the horror of Torchwood.
Yes.
That's the Captain Jack from 2005. It
does not resonate correctly. No, it does not.
It showed that he had no time to prep for the role. I can't remember who said it in a video, but somebody pulled him off a street and said, "Hey, let's give you some black hair dye or a wig, and we'll get you back in it." And that sucks. How great would it have been to have him with Capaldi or Matt Smith?
Yes, fantastic. It would have been.
Yeah.
But no, we've got this. But I mean, you talked about toys. I mean, for all the toy opportunities that we have lost this season, you're not really thinking it through all the amazing toy opportunities that we have in this season. For example, you were talking about William Hartnell, First Doctor. They have to take that away. Well, we could have a whole series of action figures of just the First Doctor. The First Doctor, and it would be action figures of murdered children. Here's a little murdered black girl. Here's a little murdered Asian girl. Here's a little murdered Hispanic girl. And then there's a blonde, but we've got him chopped up in pieces because, he's male. And then, we could have a whole string of dead babies and children and stuff. That's the First Doctor. What do you think?
I think, yes, the regeneration testing playset. And
exactly.
Yeah, I'm all about it. With Tecteun the Cannon Smasher.
Sure.
And again,
you can have a little like bell jar you put over them. You can gas them, or you can use a knife and disembowel them. You could have like SpaghettiOs dispenser on some of these figures. It's SpaghettiOs. I've slit their belly, and it comes out. What do you think?
That goes right along with your Icheb eye extraction playset from Star Trek Picard. I think both of them together would be great. Here, kids, have a little torture on Christmas. Oh, we can't say Christmas, the festive season.
The festive season of torture, yes.
Baby falling off a cliff toy. Yes.
Yes.
Hey, Az is in the chat. What's up, Az from Heels versus Babyface? Yes. Great channel, by the way. Great channel. Did you love how when she was falling off the cliff, she looked so peaceful?
She did. She resigned of like, I always knew the boy would take away my birthright. I always knew that a patriarchy would strip me of the future, as symbolized by this broken toy spaceship. She just knew it. It's like, it's the burden of every woman to be pushed off a cliff by a boy. It's just the way it is.
So your boy Zach from Comics Matter pointed this out early on when he did all these comic book reviews back in 2007. He still does it, but every time they put a woman in a comic, they're always instant friends, and they always have like this blank expression on their face, the soulful saint. So the child had it, and so did Tecteun. Did you notice like her facial expression barely changed throughout this very important montage that was so important that it didn't require any lines. And listen, I know, I hear it out there that there's things that people have pointed out that it's the master telling the story and the master lies. I could tell you right now, they will not undo this. Get it out of your head. They will not retcon a little black girl being the First Doctor.
No.
I mean, there will be 5 blue check marks on Twitter pissed at them, and the BBC cannot have that. And they also mentioned that the boundary looked like the boundary from the planet where they found the Doctor. Yes, I did notice that. I did notice that the episode's called The Timeless Children. It's been brought up that the little boy was probably the master somehow, some way, and it might be both of them. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It still changes this. And who's Tecteun and the BBC is calling this an origin story, so that's what it officially is. Something we never needed from Doctor Who.
No, not at all. But you're right. The women, Tecteun and the child, both had the blank beatific expression of the Virgin Mary having a Xanax suppository. That's basically what it was. Just right up there, right up the wazoo, and instant beatificity. Jesus Christ. I'm serious, man. You're right. It's an embarrassment. It's a disgrace, and I'm so sick of these fucking people. There's no way to adequately convey my contempt and rage and disgust at these scumbags, honestly. But you know what? Living well is the best revenge, and we will see them go down the toilet. I mean, this show, the ratings, all of them. I mean, CBS is strangling over Star Trek Picard. The stock is in the toilet. they are paying a heavy price. And if you want to pretend like it's not Star Trek, you go ahead. But I'm telling you, Star Trek has not only not saved you, I think it has caused investors to walk away. And BBC is going to suffer from who? Star Wars. Disney is already paying the price for Rise of Skywalker. Hell, they've canceled Obi-Wan, or at least put it on hiatus. When it comes back off of hiatus, I'll stop saying it's canceled. But we kind of know what that means.
It's supposed to come out in May of next year.
And of next year,
and they're going to shoot it in the beginning of next year. I guess there's no special effects.
No, yeah, that's not going to work.
I don't know if that's right, but like, what the hell? So the BBC is going to have to go out into the free market soon. That's happening. BBC, you can be in denial about this and you could try to negotiate all you want. You had all that time to negotiate. You had all that time to represent the entire public that you were fleecing the money from, and you didn't, and you were arrogant until the last possible minute. And when they are staring down a subscription service, which will be a joke, by the way, if you enter into the international streaming wars, the BBC is going to get stomped. It won't last. You'll have to be an add-on app to Hulu. That's what the BBC is going to have to be, or HBO Max, because by the time they become a subscription service, the streaming wars will be over. They'll be over in about a year and a half, folks, and we'll know who won and who didn't. And HBO Max is not going to commission any of this, and I doubt that they're happy that you're at record low ratings. I don't know. We'll find out the consolidated numbers tomorrow, Tuesday. Doesn't matter. That episode should have been the most watched episode of Doctor Who ever. They gave us a Doctor Who, a Doctor origin. That should have had 10 million people watching it easy. It's the same as The Fall of Skywalker. That should have been a $2 billion movie. It wasn't. Instead, it was in the bottom 6 or 7 all-time lowest rated episodes. You can talk about editorially. It's fine. I'm sure it's fine in your head, Piers Wanger. But the reality is your show's dead. So if you want to want to waste a bunch of money, go ahead. I will laugh. I will go ahead and laugh. But one thing I wanted to mention was that I have been helping the show, and I've been helping Star Trek Picard, and I'm no longer going to help these shows. So I've been using, the hashtag Star Trek Picard and Doctor Who in my tweets and stuff when I share up my videos. No more. Anytime I put a hashtag, it'll be a disparaging remark. It'll be Star Trek Discard or RIP Doctor Who. But I will not be using those hashtags. I will not be helping this show in any way, shape, or form anymore.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's important not to. I mean, because these idiots, will take the parrot analytics and parrot them and pretend that they mean quality or mean support, when actually it just means it can equally mean people hate the hell out of the damn thing and are bitching about it endlessly. So, but they like to hide behind that shit. And we need to deny them that cover, basically.
So this entire season was rehashing 10th Doctor storylines and some 11th Doctor storylines. We even got a piss poor David Tennant impression at the very end of the episode with the what, which I could not believe. We got a wasted performance. We did. Sasha Dewaldi, is that his name? Sasha.
Yeah, something like that.
Would have been a great Doctor. He would have been a great Doctor. And he was a decent master in garbage, unfortunately. He overacted a bit in some points, but he was the lone bright spot. And anytime he was in a scene with Jodie, he just made her look so much worse. And, Jo Grant, I wouldn't want Jo Grant as a Doctor, but she was better than Jodie. She was much better than Jodie. But if you go back and watch, every single episode is structured the same. Chibnall is incapable of telling a complete story. Everything is Deus Ex Chibi. We got Chibiisms. My favorite, I could do an entire video of something happening on screen and then somebody repeating it, like the ship arrives and Barristan Selmy goes, "They're here." Yeah, no shit. Or my favorite one is when Graham's all, "Right, we can take the cyber armor, right? And we can disguise ourselves in the ship." And then Yaz, being the brilliant and stunning and brave companion she is, says right after he says that, "You mean we can disguise ourselves as Cybermen?" I mean, it's like, God damn. And it's just over and over again. They just repeat each other. I mean, it's like, hey, there's a guy, we see a guy running and they go, "This guy's running." You know, it's stupid. And for the people who aren't Doctor Who fans, you know, Critical Drinker has the best analogy with the teddy bear and the giant big black dildo. But I'm sorry if this is repeated information, but new people watch shows all the time. This is like if Luke Skywalker was actually a girl and Yoda and Palpatine found him next to a black hole and he was the source of the Force, and they killed him over and over again to extract the Force out of him, and then de-aged him, which is the dumbest thing ever. They de-aged the Doctor and made the Doctor a baby again. That doesn't feel shoehorned at all. So they de-aged Luke, turn him into a boy, and leave him on Tatooine, and then, you know, the Palpatine and Yoda go out and pretend to hate each other, and they represent the patriarchy, Western canon, Western civilization. And, you know, I just don't know how you undo what's called, quote unquote, Western canon, which is basically storytelling, folks. I mean, it's just storytelling. Right. It's where we get our stories from, and undo it completely while keeping it together to keep your messages in here. It's funny to watch. I mean, because it just turns into schlock, and it's lazy. And then they do it in the the reason they're doing it is try to include more people, include more voices. Well, make more TV shows, make original TV shows. It's a very simple answer. So we see through your bullshit. We're going to continue to say it no matter how many times you deny it. You remember, it wasn't too long ago there wasn't any politics in anything. And now they're saying it's always been political. And it's this constant moving in the goalposts.
No, it's a lie. And the reason why Doctor Who is dead, honestly, was what I said in my review, which was, my analogy was, what they did to Doctor Who is like you're at your father's deathbed, and your father tells you on his deathbed that he has a whole bunch of dead kids buried in the backyard. And so all of your life, you were living a lie. Your dad was some kind of psycho. There's a whole bunch of dead kids in your yard. Literally, it's like that on Doctor Who. Because now they're saying, well, everything you knew about the Time Lords was a lie. They were based on tons and tons of murdered children. And once you have learned this information, even if they retcon it, it doesn't matter because it's in your head now. And, you know, you'll never be able to, every memory that you had of your dad is tainted with this revelation. Same thing with Doctor Who, anything to do with the Time Lords. You know, it's ugly. It's horrible. It was based on murdered children. And the Doctor himself is a victim, an endless victim, a murdered victim. So this is your show, pal. This is your show.
And this is all to prop up Jodie. And that the reason they brought back Spock in Star Trek Discovery and sacrificed that character was all to prop up Michael effing Burnham. And what a joke that is. And you know how you feel, especially since Picard has come out, people have kind of gotten a little more honest about Star Trek Discovery, and they know what garbage it is. That's how people are going to look at, I mean, anybody, even the people who liked Jodie are going to start seeing how disposable and how bad she actually was as a character due to Jodie Whittaker's acting and Chris Chibnall's writing. And it's the same situation. It's the same story, you know, and it's, you know, this is why it's so predictably woke. And if I can remember, I think I wrote it down. I have my prediction for next season. They're not done. They are so not done. They're I'm done. But what they're going to do next season is the Cyberium, that whole Cyber Zealot plot was foreshadowing for next season. So that Cyberium, there's going to be like a Time Lord version of that because she blew up the Matrix. So Jodie's doctor is going to have all of the Time Lord memory technology in some device or something or in the TARDIS, and she's going to reboot the Time Lords, and they're going to be her little Time Lords, and she'll be the king of the Time Lords and a god, and then what their excuse will be is, well, it's still Doctor Who, it's still a mystery, we don't know where she came from, through the portal, and we'll never answer that. And that can be the Doctor Who part of it. It's like bullshit. No.
The portal is Chris Chibnall's ass. You've heard it first on the Inquisition. That was the origin of the Doctor. Chris Chibnall's ass. That's where he pulled all of this out of. And we will never, ever, ever forgive. We will never forget. We can never unsee what we've seen. They can go to hell. That's just it. Just straight up. I'm done with this shit. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm gonna watch it when it I don't know. I mean, I guess we have to report on it, but God damn, I have zero desire to watch it. Zero. Negative. I dread watching it, honestly.
I don't know. I'm going to report on it, but I'm leaning towards not reviewing it, not even giving it a signal boost on that. And we'll see how that goes. Believe me, they relied on this. They wanted to split the fan base and get people talking because that's all they have. They don't have actual storytelling. It's just shocks and surprises, and it meant so much to them that they put it in a voiceover montage with the master telling us the story, and we're supposed to question it. And it's like, and I see all of our good friends out there trying to work it out, and some of them are like, they'll retcon it again. They're not retconning this. Doctor Who is dead, and it's not going to get better. Even if they change out doctors and change out showrunners, the BBC is still in charge of this. And the same goes for Star Trek, folks. It's not going to turn on a dime. They're not going to fix this anytime soon. They might just shutter it. Done.
I really hope that they will decriminalize, the TV license issue UK, so they can stop paying this shit, stop supporting this kind of brainwashing, this kind of cultural vandalism and manipulation, this gaslighting of what we know about the Doctor. I just, how can we support this? How can y'all support this? I don't know. I just really,
it's a huge fine. I mean, I guess it's a massive fine over there if they get rid of the license. And Az from Heels versus Babyface was telling me he was going through the process, and it's a pain in the ass. Of course, they make it a pain in the ass to get rid of it, and that's downright un-American. I hope you guys get rid of it soon. And I don't want anybody to incur a fine, but if you can just go through the process to get rid of it, then get rid of it.
Right. I mean, I don't urge anybody to get it, anything illegal or put yourself at risk. However, there's a world of entertainment just online, just on the internet, just on YouTube, or buy some DVDs and watch them on your computer. Fuck the TV. Who needs it?
Yeah.
Honestly.
Watch Inquisition. Watch live streams.